I'll set the purpose and we'll do some awards. But this year, in honor of Black History Month, I felt compelled to do something just a little bit different this year. So I will go ahead and get started. So good morning, beautiful scholars.
Good morning.
This week I was reflecting and I was preparing for the Top 10 Breakfast. And behind the scenes, I put in a lot of thought, I put in a lot of work into making this a really special event for students and for their families. And so it occurred to me that I've been doing this celebration for 8 years. And imagine that, I started doing this celebration when some of you all were just in 2nd and 3rd grade. And when something is done well, and when it's done with passion, it can stand the test of time. So very similar to your academic perseverance. So your greatness is starting to stand the test of time. You stood great through the 5-week progress report, and then 10-week report cards, and then 15-week progress reports, and now here you stand 20 weeks finally at the end of the semester. And you are standing great, and you are ranked top amongst your peers. Greatness always stands the test of time. The annual Top 10 Breakfast always happens in February, which is also Black History Month. And so raise your hand if you're familiar with W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay? And then raise your hand if you're familiar with the concept of the talented 10. Okay? So W.E.B. Du Bois was an educator and he was a philosopher. And he was the first Black man to earn a PhD from Harvard University. And he was also the founder of the NAACP. He was a well-respected member of the Black community in the early 1900s. And so he promoted the concept of what's called the talented 10. And this theory suggests that there should be a focus on providing classical education for the top 10% of African Americans, so teaching them to become leaders in their community. And this theory argued that with an educated group of really exceptional leaders, that the rest of the African American community will also benefit. And so the theory suggests an alternative focus to what was really popular for Blacks at that time. And it was a focus pushed by his educational rival, Booker T. Washington. And Booker T. Washington really believed in an industrial education. And so in many ways, the talented 10th is an exceptional idea. Most of us would agree that all communities desire to have an educated and intellectual group who are willing to stand up for the rights and for the rest of their community. And in many ways, I would suggest that you, ladies and gentlemen, are the talented 10th within your grade levels. The class of 2023 has 271 students. The class of 2022 has 244 students. The class of 2021 has 232 students. And the class of 2020 has 265 students. You are the top in your class. You, ladies and gentlemen, are what Du Bois was hoping for. You are the talented 10th. And then as you continue to grow as intellectuals and as you strengthen your leadership skills, you'll begin to become more adept at really viewing both sides of all theories. And so while the talented 10th theory really seems like an exceptional idea, there were many people such as Booker T. Washington who disagreed with the theory. Booker T. Washington was the first president of Tuskegee Normal, which is now Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, a historically Black college. Booker T. Washington, on the other hand, believed that the best interests of Black people could be realized through more industrial education. So he urged Blacks, most of whom were very poor, many who were illiterate, many who were farmers. He said, give up the right to win your civil rights and don't focus on political power. Instead, focus on cultivating an industry and cultivating farming. And so he said that's how Black people will be able to attain economic security. So you have Du Bois on one hand, really promoting a more intellectual pathway for Black people, and you have Booker T. Washington on the other hand that was promoting a more agricultural or industrial type of education. So here we have two very contrasting beliefs. Okay, Du Bois believed in an educated populace, and Washington believed in a skilled labor force. But here you all sit today, ancestors of two dynamic individuals who had extremely contrasting points of view. So let's look at the issues with both philosophies. If we follow the doctrine of Du Bois, we will promote a culture of elitism and classism. In more simple terms, that means that only certain black people will be selected to be educated and elevated to the top. Meanwhile, 90% of our community will remain uneducated or undereducated. It's an issue in our community if we allow concepts like classism and looking down our noses on other people to divide our community. On the other hand, Washington's philosophy promoted the occasional acceptance of inequities to focus on a more broader goal. In addition, his laser focus on agriculture and skilled labor jobs would not promote having black people in key leadership positions to make decisions. Then, how would our whole community benefit if we don't have key people in key positions? And so my top 10 scholars, I would suggest that in many ways, you are still very much the talented 10. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with being an academic all-star. Let me say that again. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being an academic all-star. All right. However, as you continue to strive for greatness, I encourage you to never, never, never look down your nose on others. That mentality supports classism, which is just unacceptable. Use your intellect to make your community better for everyone. And so on the other hand, I would also suggest that Booker T. Washington's approach, which suggested that our community needs skilled laborers, is also important. I agree with his idea that people must be motivated to work hard and they must be willing to push themselves. True scholars will not seek motivation from others. They have an internal motivator that pushes them forward. So as I wrap up my brief history lesson, I want you to continue to always strive for greatness. I want you to continue to study your history and learn how you can make a difference in your communities. Successful people use their intellect to make a difference in their own lives, in their communities, and in the world. You are the dreams of W.E.B. Du Bois. You are the dreams of Booker T. Washington. You are amazing academic all-stars who are already making a difference at Morgan Park High School. And I cannot wait to watch you go out and change the world.